Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and I'm gonna give this a shot. I got baby Zoe awake in the living room, and you'll probably hear her. I might get interrupted, but I wanted to talk about Canon Cass a little bit, and Viski has given us the opportunity. He is going to do very well in the ME-262A1U4 Narwhal, my favorite close air support aircraft in the game, and something that should be no surprise to those of you that have followed the channel for a while. So this gives me a great opportunity to talk about one of my very favorite aspects of War Thunder, its history in relative terms, and how you too can become a king of Cass, as Viski will show us. One thing that I'd like to note right away is that Viski plays differently than I do. I just covered somebody, Bishon Man, who really played similar to the way that I play. Not exactly, especially in terms of positioning. I tend to play a little bit more cautiously sometimes when I'm really in my element. I think I am at my best when I'm playing defensively and taking the time to predict where the enemy is going to be and just moving enough to get into a good position to deal with that. In other words, War Thunder chess. Check. Round goes in, takes down the commander, and damages the breach of that. I think that was a Carnarvon, whatever you call it. Quick reload on the Jagdpanzer 4 gives him time to miss the shot against that IS-2, as the match is already heating up. Heating up. Oh my, he's on fire. That looks to be an IS-4. A terrifying thing to face, even in the Jagdpanzer. Yes, you can punch through its armor. Yes, you have the ability to one-shot that heavy tank. But if you don't, you shan't be getting a second shot. So we'll see how Viski handles this as I dig in to taking a bite out of Canon Cass. First off, I do appreciate the decal on Viski's tank there. But one of the most enjoyable things for me in War Thunder is flying close air support. Fails to get the one shot there, but does take down some turret crew. It is already enough of a challenge to perform an attack run on an enemy tank and then pull out from your attack run without dying. That takes some learning. And one of the things that I am addicted to, especially in War Thunder, is just learning things. It's one of the reasons I enjoy flying close air support so much. So much to learn, so much to work on, and it's all within the same context. You just get to polish and polish and polish until you can make a turd shine. And the Narwhal is no turd. One of the most competitive aircraft in the game in its role. Fast, durable, powerful, with an ability to stay in the fight, the ability to quickly position, a threat to any ground vehicle, a potential threat to any aircraft, if you play your cards right and your aim is good and the RNG is with you. It never finds itself in a position where it's useless as long as it has ammunition for that 50mm cannon. Viski showing us right away his very aggressive playstyle as I lose track on the side track I was tracking on before I started keeping track of what he's doing now. An F-80A, by no means a slouch of an opponent, going into a stall fight. Viski popping flaps, yes he is, kicking the rudder, rolling her over nicely, not stalling out badly in the Narwhal, something that's very possible if you don't fly it right. It's hard to really express the level of smoothness that Viski had in that maneuver. That's not an easy thing to pull off. in a narwhal, and he nailed it as far as timing things and using those manual controls when he needed to. In a rolling scissors, more or less, with an F-80, never an easy position to be in. The American jet fighter, very capable in anyone's hands and extremely deadly in the hands of an experienced player, pulling things close, taking some hits. Already, it looks like a little bit of negative elevator under the bridge. Man, swag strats. This is an exciting match. How am I going to talk about cannon casts when you hear pirouetting with what turns out to be, what is that called? P-59, I think. The Era Comet, if I'm not mistaken. Very nimble jet fighter, very capable, poor energy retention, but other than that, fantastic, especially at its battle rating. But let's speed things up a bit here. It does behoove Viski to go in for a landing at this point, and in case you were wondering, it is once again possible to belly land the narwhal, so rejoice. That is one of the most fun things of flying this aircraft, and it's nice to see it doesn't twerk twice and then perform a fatal backflip anymore. That was a strange, exotic, and annoying bug. So Viski will be shortly back in the air, and yet, even though they fixed that bug, there's a new one because the narwhal will drag its tail all the way off if you let it. So Viski's gonna repair. What you have to do is turn on the throttle, and then as soon as your wheels start to move, as you're dragging your tail, hit the brakes and hold them until your front wheel comes down, and then accelerate once again, and you won't have any issues or damage to your aircraft. But Gaijin, in typical fashion, has fixed one game-breaking bug and replaced it with another. But this one, at least, you can work your way around. So, I promise you, this is going to be some quality ME-262 gameplay. Up until that point, just let me grab a thumbnail real quick. I'm not sure why I left this in the video, other than I don't do the editing that I'm supposed to do. And you know what? I kind of need the time because I get distracted. I was talking with someone on Discord about how I manage my time, and the short answer is I don't. But I have really, one of the things that I've picked up about being an adult, especially now that I have kids, is if I don't set aside time to do something, then I just don't have time. And I could sit on the computer all day, and I will, and it'll kill me. So I gotta get back to working out too. I'm a little bit out of shape, but I did some working out today. I watched Jake the Snake and Diamond Dallas Page on the Joe Rogan talk show, and they've inspired me. And actually, if you can hear the depth of my voice, I've been doing a little bit of a core workout. It always makes me sound a little bit more sultry and sexy too. So I'll work that on the wife when she gets home. Except that I gotta go teach a class as soon as she gets home. So you might have noticed that's another thing I need to set aside time for. A little bit of close time with my wife, more than just falling asleep on the couch together. It's good to make some memories every now and then. Wait, are you guys still listening? So how about that cannon cast, huh? 50mm derp gun, high velocity, armor piercing, high explosive rounds, the regular AP, not the APT, high velocity, useless needle round, is what you want to run when you're pulling casts. And vertical maneuvers tends to be the way to go. Now, where I would go into a steep climb after an attack run and climb to about 1,000, 1,500 meters, really bank all of my speed into altitude before looping over to come down on a target again. What Viski does is he pulls a tight vertical loop, really as tight as he possibly can, and it doesn't conserve as much energy, but it gives him a lot more time on target and a lot more opportunity to play aggressively than my style of cannon casts. So the main difference between us is that I like to bank a lot of energy just in case I need to defensively fly, if I need to zoom and get out of there, if there's a Spitfire on my ass, or just if I want to have more time to stare at a target while I'm zoomed in and line up my shot. I don't have the best reflexes, so I try to put myself in a position where I don't need to have the best reflexes. What you see in Viski is more of an athletic style of playing War Thunder. He's very aggressive. He has the ability to respond quickly and accurately, and I'm struggling with the map. I wanted to show you guys something on the map, but I think it is, yes, one thing that I wanted to do with this video in particular is show you that Viski is not just attacking like a mad African honeybee here. And you're like, Toshio, why are you so racist against African honeybees? African honeybees are killers. You come into their turf and they're like, you came to the wrong house, fool, and they come out with the baseball bat and they sting you to death. European honeybees are like laid back, chill. They're talking about like vibes and like karma and and psychedelic experiences, and anybody comes into their neighborhood, they just reach into the nest and take all the honey. And was I supposed to be talking tactics? African honeybees will cut you, and that is the way Viski plays this game, but he's also playing tactically. He has the ability to turn any ground vehicle's day into a bad day, and that's exactly what he does here. Look at that, 3 shots into a T-92, and the thing still holds together, because one thing you can do to nerf cannon casts, perhaps the one thing you can do, is to reduce its post-penetration effect, and the relatively low amount of high explosive filler in the Narwhal's rounds means right now that it doesn't have a whole lot of spalling. If you want to take somebody down, you got to hit ammo, you got to hit crew, and it's going to take more than one shot for most vehicles, especially American tanks where things tend to be spread out a little bit better, unless you're talking about the Sherman. Don't face a lot of those with the Narwhal. But what Viski is doing is, the other way you can nerf cannon cast is by reducing its accuracy, but then you just got to get closer. And you know what? Viski is getting intimate with his opponents here. And he is picking his targets with an awareness of what his team needs and where it's best for him to be targeting the enemy. He's picking out vehicles that are flanking his guys. He's working the edges of the enemy lines. His team can hold the center. It's not so hard to hold the center as it is to hold the flanks, because if the flanks fall, enemies are getting side shots on your boys. So what Viski's been doing for these 8 quick kills and 5 assists he's already picked up in such a short amount of time is he has been coming into exactly where he's needed. He's been getting close enough to where he won't miss with his shots, and that is really key with the Narwhal especially, because the accuracy on this aircraft is not what it used to be. You have to fly this thing like you're gonna jab your Bowie knife into the enemy's eye and then pull out of that dive right before you slam into the ground or the nearest building. It is a thought-provoking process, and Viski's pulling it off quite nicely, as you see in the video and as you see on the scoreboard. And what he's done on top of all of that, what would you call it? Base level strategy, keeping himself alive, taking down the enemy vehicles, taking his shots when and where he needs them. On top of that, he's playing a side game in the back of his mind. Where am I needed the most? And he answered that question very effectively. He took down the mobile, powerful enemy vehicles that he was facing. He secured the flanks for his team and gave them everything that he could to get them to be able to hold that cap zone, and that is how you win matches. It's not just about getting kills. 9 kills is a great number of kills, especially for close air support these days. It's not what it used to be. It's not that easy to get kills, as you've seen. 3 hits into a T-92 and it still holds together. Yeah, it takes more than just spending time on target. CAS is actually becoming balanced in this game. But one thing that you can't take away from these aircraft is their mobility, is their ability to target any part of the battlefield, wherever they are needed. And that is what gives the close air support game in War Thunder so much power and makes it such a rewarding experience. It worked out well for Viski here as he and his team hold the line, and it continues to be one of the things that keeps me coming back to War Thunder. What an incredible win. What a clutch hold, immobilizing enemy vehicles before they could take the cap. Very nicely done, Viski. That was an incredible match. Anyway, guys, I'll keep on making War Thunder videos. I got lots to talk about, and it was a pleasure talking about one of my favorite aspects of the game, watching a replay from my very favorite aircraft. Catch you guys in the next video. Feel free to send in your own replays. Discord link in the description below. That's the best place to reach me. Bye-bye.